Hi, I'm Jonathan Leeman. I'm the editorial director at 9 Marks, and I want to tell you today about this little booklet Andy Naselli and I wrote called How Can I Love Church Members with Different Politics? Just this morning, I was speaking with one pastor who was telling me about a conversation he had with 3 other pastors just yesterday from 3 different churches, and all 3 of them communicated the same thing to him. Politics is tearing my church apart, right? And I think as cultural division and political division grows, both in the United States and those of you in other places, other countries, as political division in the country at large grows, we're going to feel that inside the church. Now, here's the thing. It's super easy to build a church that just aligns itself with one set of political sensibilities or another set of political sensibilities. The trouble there, the challenge there, is that then your church ends up looking like the culture, at least that little tribe of the culture. The harder thing to do is to grow a church that's centered around the gospel, even when the gospel doesn't necessarily align itself with one set of political sensibilities or another. How can we gather as Christians with nothing in common but the gospel? You know, you think of Matthew the tax collector and Simon the zealot, 2 very different opinions on Rome, both of them following Jesus. I'm guessing as they follow Jesus, you know, I can just picture Simon and Matthew sort of in the background following after, maybe they're 20 feet behind, and they're kind of quibbling a little bit about Rome and what to do with Rome. Nonetheless, they were both following after Jesus. How did they do that? How did they simultaneously follow Jesus and yet had good and important conversations about how Judea was supposed to relate itself to Rome? Well, in my country, America today, and many of your other countries as well, there are important issues that we're going to divide over. Justice, affecting issues that Christians should have good conversations about. It's not just like we're going to say, hey, these justice conversations aren't important, we're about Christianity. No, Christians are called to care about justice. It's one part of our obedience. Politics is one part of our discipleship. So on the one hand, we need to continue to have these important conversations. On the other hand, we need to recognize the distinction between, okay, this is an important conversation, but this is an ultimate conversation, right? And I can love and live together with brothers and sisters, though we disagree on some of these important things, because we share these ultimate things. How do we do that? How do we do that in the context of our local churches and come to the table together? Well, that's not always easy to do, right? Sometimes those important things are actually ultimate things, or sometimes they're not. Do we have those categories? Do we recognize what's an area of Christian freedom and what's an area of, no, the whole church needs to take a stand on this, even to the point of excommunication? How do I love one another and recognize, okay, that is an area of Christian freedom or, an important issue, but it's not an ultimate issue. It's not a whole church issue. Well, these are the kinds of conversations that Andy and I try to have in this little booklet to serve you and your relationship with other members in the church. It's written not just for pastors, but it's written for the average Christian sitting in the pew. We pray that you will find it useful.